back everyone, it's time to go balls deep into Jujutsu Kaisen, and today we will be explaining Megumi Fushiguro's potential as a sorcerer and if he will be able to become one of the strongest in the series, on par with Satoru Gojo himself with his cursed techniques called the 10 Shadows. Yes guys, we will be breaking down this amazing ability, and this includes diving deep into the inspiration and lore of how Gege Akutami, the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen, created this power from its conceptual idea. And then we will even go deeper in this video by deducing if this inspiration will in fact give us clues regarding why Sukuna is interested in Megumi for his own plans. But like always guys, I need to let you lot know on how much we appreciate your support and how much it means to us when you smash that like button. Without you guys, we won't be making regular content. So please remember that every single one of our videos is because of you. Yes, you and the collective community. So once again, thank you so much.
Okay everyone, before I dive even deeper, I would like to address a question a lot of you asked me about in the comments and on social media. What editing software do you use or recommend, Anime Balls Deep? I want to learn how to edit like you guys. Well, thanks to our sponsorship with Filmora Go, I can recommend them for their ease of use and their video editor that has powerful tools. A lot of you are inspired to become YouTubers just like us, and this is a step into the right direction because with this video editor, you can make memes, create videos with photos, pictures, music, stickers and sound effects. You can even use it to edit for whatever platform you want, be it YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp or Twitter. Filmora gives you the power to easily use your phone to even make videos like ours, just as Kevin does using his iPad to edit for Anime Balls Deep. Filmora Go is a powerful editing app for Android and iPhone. There's tons of effects and free music to use, and video templates make it much easier to produce a video and learn how to edit. Download Filmora Go for free using the download link in the pinned comment and description. Tell me about your experience using it. Tweet me some of the memes that you learn how to make on Twitter, Discord and Instagram, and you can be featured in a future video.
So let's get right into it. Well, Megumi was introduced to us as a first year student at Jujutsu School in Tokyo and was the first in his class. Under the guidance and recommendation of Gojo, Megumi began Jujutsu High as a grade 2 sorcerer, which right off the bat indicated his high potential. Grade 2 is an above average level for a sorcerer, and as stated by My Zenin in chapter 17 page 7, anyone who starts with this grade from the very beginning is considered a genius. However, Megumi's genius and his incredible potential doesn't stop there, as I will explain in just a moment on how strong he will become and even answer the question if Megumi can become as overpowered or even more so than Satoru Gojo, the strongest sorcerer in Jujutsu Kaisen. Well, speaking of Gojo, he has made it clear that he wants to reform the world of Jujutsu sorcery by raising his students in a certain image. Megumi of course is no exception to this, but in certain ways has gotten special treatment. Gojo in fact adopted Megumi and took responsibility over him after his father's Toji Fushiguro's death. During this adoption moment, Gojo tells Megumi that his own father was using him as a trump card against the Zenin clan. What exactly does this mean has not fully been explored within the series. However, we do have a theory involving Megumi becoming the next head of the Zenin clan, bringing change to the Jujutsu world from their old traditions, just like Gojo wanted. All of this clearly revolves around Megumi's strength and potential as a Jujutsu sorcerer. But why? Well, Megumi inherited the rare 10 Shadows technique, a special ability that has been passed down through the Zenin family for generations. Remember guys, the techniques and potential that a sorcerer has usually stems from one's bloodline. Even though Megumi's last name is Fushiguro, he is still a Zenin by blood. To put it simply, he is a descendant of the Zenin clan with a special family bloodline curse technique. Gojo even mentioned that this technique at least goes far back to the Edo or Keiichi period, where currently we don't know the origins. But what exactly is this technique and why is it so special?
I don't know.
Well, the 10 Shadows technique is a Shikigami summoning ability that allows the user to summon and tame 10 different Shikigami types. By the way, Shikigamis are similar to that of cursed spirits, but are considered like a familiar akin to spiritual guardians or pets to sorcerers per se. Anyways, to be able to tame these Shikigamis, the user, in this case Megumi, must first summon the Shikigami for an exorcism ritual. Yes guys, it's not that easy, you have to earn your keep. In this ritual, Megumi must then defeat the summoned Shikigami Shikigami on his own to subjugate it. If he summons an untamed Shikigami in the presence of another person, they can help him kill it, but it will not be tamed. Meaning each one of the Shikigamis Megumi has, he had to fight it at some point in his life and win alone. However, even though there isn't a detailed explanation, it is indicated that the Divine Dogs are the first set of Shikigamis the user receives when they inherit the 10 Shadows technique. So when I mean subjugate these other Shikigamis alone, obviously it means with the help of these Divine Dogs. And then later, the more Shikigamis the user possesses or subjugated, they can further be used in stronger and harder exorcisms. Overall, this generally makes sense, as it would be quite crazy to have something stronger than yourself that you haven't won over as your subservient. Think about it like Pokemon. If the trainer has less experience and badges, the stronger Pokemon won't listen. But coming back to the 10 Shadows techniques, if one of these Shikigamis are killed whilst the technique is active, they are permanently destroyed. However, the essence of their spirits are left over within the technique, and Megumi can combine these essence to make a new Shikigami. Megumi did this when he created the Divine Dog Totality, which was an improved version of the Black Divine Dog Shikigami, which inherited the power of its twin, the fallen White Dog Shikigami. What's more than likely the case is that Megumi can have 10 slots of tamed Shikigamis. When he loses one, it might possibly open up a slot, allowing him to summon a Shikigami, defeating it and then adding it to his 10 Shikigami slot. But at this moment, this is quite irrelevant, as Megumi doesn't even have 10 Shikigamis under his control. Regardless, each one of these Shikigamis seems to have special properties or abilities attached to them. For instance, the Divine Dogs have the ability to sniff out curses and people easily. Max Elephant can blow out giant waves of water. Rabbit brings out a mass amount of little rabbits that listen to Megumi. Niue is a giant bird-like Shikigami with electrified wings for aerial combat. And then there's the Toad Shikigami, which hasn't shown much other than using their tongues to grab things. And then we had the Great Serpent Shikigami, which was amazing for immobilizing large curses. However, sadly, Sukuna destroyed it completely, so we didn't get to see much of it. And then lastly, we have the Untamed General Maharaga, the strongest Shikigami with a human design. Now make sure you guys watch till the end, as Ardal will go into the inspiration for these Shikigamis and the importance of it. But another thing to know about this ability is that the 10 Shadows technique incorporates shadow usage as an intermediary for the summoning of the conquered Shikigami. The first actions that the user must perform is hand signs. These hand signs are created so that Megumi can initiate his curse technique summoning ability. Each of these hand signs are actually representing the specific Shikigami Megumi is trying to summon. For instance, if he wanted to summon the Divine Dogs, his hand sign must be similar to that, making a puppet of a dog. Now Megumi can also use these hand signs back to back in order to combine Shikigamis together to form a new one with attributes of each of the Shikigami. We see this with Megumi's technique, the Bottomless Well, where Megumi combines the Niue and Toad Shikigami, creating winged toads to help him in battle. Even though these summons are weaker than their parent Shikigamis, the benefit is that they can be killed without any drawbacks. As long as their parent's Shikigami is alive, in this case the Toad and Niue Shikigami, then all is okay. Now beyond just using these shadows to summon out Shikigamis, Megumi has shown the ability to store cursed items within his shadows as well. This is actually where he stores his cursed weapon sword, and he was even shown to store Maki's special grade cursed tool, the Playful Cloud. So to look into Megumi's potential fully, we have to break down the possible ways that Megumi can use his shadows. In the same way, he has to grow his imagination to develop new interpretation of his technique. This goes back to Sukuna and his interest in Megumi, explaining why he wanted to protect him for his future plans. And we have a clue that is to do with his 10 Shadows technique. Like when we go back to chapter 9, when Sukuna pointed out that Megumi seems special because rather than using common talismans, his 10 Shadows curse technique is much more practical. And in reality, Sukuna's obsession with Megumi stems from this idea that Megumi has a lot more to learn and discover regarding his powers. Sukuna even asked Megumi, who's just a grade 2, why did you run away against the fight with a special grade finger bearer, indicating that Sukuna believed that Megumi's technique was sufficient enough to handle the curse. And since Sukuna is the king of curses and 1000 years old, he possesses knowledge that is ancient and understands the origin of curse techniques. And as he pointed out, usually Shikigamis have to use Remedium to summon their Shikigamis, whilst other users use talismans with incantation. Megumi on the other hand is so special and potentially so great that he just has to use the shadow corresponding to his Shikigami. This actually causes an absence of a need for a spell or talisman, making him different from all users as he doesn't have a disadvantage. This is one of many reasons that Sukuna is interested in him. Along with that, young Noritoshi Kamo and Sukuna noted that his proficiency in hand-to-hand combat combat because normally Shikigami users are poor in that respect. Megumi is also so well trained in using these tools and weapons for close range combat alongside using his Shikigami. However, with all that said, the key to Megumi's potential is how he sees himself and how he uses his techniques. Megumi's ability leaves room for a lot of interpretation and possible extension that can make him a very versatile fighter. He can use hand-to-hand combat whilst his Shikigami fight in sync. This was also shown in Megumi's fight against the high-grade curse born from Sukuna's finger in the Origin of Obedience arc. With this type of thinking, it makes you wonder, where exactly is Megumi's ceiling? Well, the best way to know that is to understand the capabilities of the past user of the Ten Shadow technique. In chapter 117, within a flashback, Gojo in fact brings up this very crucial information. Gojo gives Megumi a history lesson explaining the real reason why the Zenin clan and Gojo clan have bad blood between each other, where Gojo reveals that in the Edo period, the heads of each respective clan faced off in battle and ended up killing each other before aristocracy. What makes this so important is that the old era Gojo head was just like Satoru, having both the ability of Limitless and the Six Eyes, along with the old era Zenin head was just like Megumi, as he also possessed the Ten Shadow technique. The Edo period is between 1603 and 1867 in the history of Japan. This means that someone around 160 to 400 years ago, being the head of the Zenin clan, possessing the Ten Shadows technique, was capable of taking down someone with the Six Eyes and Limitless technique. Gojo even asks Megumi, get what I'm saying, right? Indicating and hinting at the unbelievable potential that Megumi possesses, where he would even be on par with someone like him. However, due to Megumi's self-doubt to believe in himself that he can actually become as strong as Gojo, Megumi comes to his own assumption that the previous head was not as strong as Gojo. Rather, the previous head must have used the Ten Shadows technique's trump card, resulting in a sacrifice of the user. In Megumi's understanding, this must have been the only way that the Ten Shadows technique can be equal to the Six Eyes and Limitless if it is harnessed correctly. In Megumi's eyes, the only way is suicide. But what exactly is this trump card? Well, it's starting a summoning ritual of the strongest untamed Shikigami, General Mahoraga. According to Megumi, no one in the entire history of the Ten Shadows technique was able to exercise it. However, even though Mahoraga cannot be used or commanded like the other Shikigamis, the user of the Ten Shadows technique are still able to summon it anytime they want in attempt of an exorcism. This also means that they are able to summon it as an absolute last resort against an enemy, forcing the opponent to take part in the ritual and fight the general with them. If somehow the Shikigami is exercised by multiple people and not alone, the ritual's effect would be nullified after the exorcism. So usually there is no point in summoning a Shikigami over the user's strength, but in this case, the intention of this summoning is for Mahoraga to kill everyone. Megumi didn't see winning by dying as anything extraordinary, but he was ready to die if it meant winning. However, again, this is all Megumi's perception based on his self-doubt and lack of confidence. We believe that Gojo understood the greater potential that Megumi possesses, going as far to highlight the possibility of Megumi becoming as strong as Gojo without the use of the suicide move. And we can't forget Gojo telling Megumi that his abilities and skills are higher than Yuji's. However, his biggest downfall is his mental strength and learning to bring out his best by being a little selfish. Megumi asks Gojo, are you saying that I'm not trying my best? When he responds by saying, no, but you actually don't know how to bring out your best. And that's actually Gojo's point. This means that Megumi needs to believe in himself and take on a more selfish approach to his training and life as a sorcerer.
Alright, thank you Yusuf. Now it's time to dive deep into Megumi's potential, so let's break down General Mahoraga and what will happen if Megumi manages to tame this beast. What makes General Mahoraga so powerful is his ability to learn and become immune to any technique used on him. He has a sense of consciousness just like that of a regular Jujutsu sorcerer, showing this by smiling at Sukuna when he blocks his dismantle ability attack. Mahoraga was able to blitz Sukuna fast enough to land a blow that sent him crashing through buildings for hundreds of feet easily. Mahoraga dashes to Sukuna's location to continue the fight. Sukuna from here takes the offensive to eventually win, but it took his domain expansion Malevolent Shrine plus a fire arrow that he took from Jogo to finish Mahoraga off. The reason it took so much damage to kill Mahoraga is because he has the ability to become immune to an ability after being hit with it. It will survive the initial attack and then begin a regeneration process. If you damage it before it fully regenerates, regenerates, you can kill it, but it has to be a different technique because it has already become immune to the initial one. That's why it's almost impossible for the Shikigami user that has summoned him for the ritual to actually be the one to defeat him, since that's the only way to gain him as your Shikigami. Megumi somehow needs to find a way to defeat it using his own strength alone. Divine General Mahoraga can also wield the Sword of Extermination, which envelops its blade with positive energy, making it a specialist weapon against cursed spirits who are born from negative energy. Sukuna himself admits in chapter 118 that if he was a cursed spirit, he would be dead. This is whilst he has 15 fingers of his 20 at 75% of his power if we use basic math. So this puts it into perspective how overpowered the final Shikigami Megumi can summon. If he were to tame this one day, Megumi's potential will skyrocket to a special grade sorcerer with the likes of Satoru Gojo. General Mahoraga's true talent lies in his ability to defensively adapt to any and all phenomena as the 8-handled wheel above it back turns. This means that General Mahoraga rapidly heals and can develop effective countermeasures to all enemies and cursed techniques it may come into contact with as the wheel turns. The manga describes this as someone playing rock paper scissors but showing the hand that they will play after a delay of seeing what the other person has already shown. Sukuna speculates that it does not adapt to a specific technique but rather a specific attack. For example, the general will adjust to all slashing attacks instead of just the dismantle technique he used during their fight. This gives us a sign and a clue as to how Megumi may be able to enhance his knowledge and powers to overcome this hurdle just like Sukuna did. General Mahoraga being tamed by Megumi so he can be fighting besides him sounds absolutely broken, especially in 1v1 fights. He already is never alone with his Shikigami, but General Mahoraga is almost like a literal teammate, able to completely understand the opponent with or without Megumi's help. It is plausible that Satoru Gojo is stronger than that old Gojo head, so he wants Megumi to become stronger than the past Zenin clan head so he can help him change the Jujutsu world for the better and end the corruption within it. Without coincidence, this all goes back to Megumi possibly being the head of the Zenin clan soon. After the death of Nobito's Zenin in Shibuya, it is confirmed in his will that if Gojo Satoru was mentally incapacitated, then Megumi will be welcomed into the Zenin clan as its head. This was an agreement that Nobito and Toji had in the past, causing Megumi to be a centerpiece in the future of the Zenin clan. With Megumi now being placed in the running for the head, with Nobito's death and Gojo's sealing, characters like Ogi and Jinichi Zenin could now choose to protect and look after Megumi, considering he hasn't even reached his full potential. If this happens, then he will officially be one of the pillars of the Jujutsu hierarchy, and he will represent the Zenin clan not only socially but also politically. So if Megumi does become the head of the Zenin clan, then he must become stronger to uphold that title as well. This means Megumi will need to tap into every aspect of his technique on top of honing his hand-to-hand combat. The first aspect Megumi has been working on is losing the martyr complex he has as a character. He just doesn't mind dying for others, and as awesome of a trait that may sound for a character, it is the main thing that keeps Megumi from reaching his highest peak. Satoru Gojo referenced this during a flashback of him training Megumi. He explains to Megumi that being a Jujutsu sorcerer is an individual sport. The need of selfishness is the core of the job, so because of Megumi's lack of this, he hinders himself. He has shown himself to be very smart, breaking down the synchronization of Sukuna's fingers, figuring out his opponent's techniques after seeing it only one time, on top of understanding the essence of curse energy. Well, Megumi can easily break up the shell he has enclosed himself in the future. This began with Megumi unlocking Chimera Shadow Garden. Chimera Shadow Garden is Megumi's domain expansion, and it allows him to cover the area in his shadows and use them at will without any hand signs. We see Megumi summon different Shikigami using these shadows, even allowing him to summon multiple of the same Shikigami that he usually couldn't. For example, multiple new. It isn't a coincidence that Megumi's domain is called Chimera Shadow Garden because in genetics, the concept of a chimera or genetic chimerism is a single organism made up of cells from more than one genotype. In simpler terms, it basically is a creature made from multiple other creatures. Megumi being able to combine the essence of his different Shikigami to create new ones for new purposes is exactly the same as the concept of generic chimerism. His new new divine dog was created from the essence of the killed white divine dog plus serpent. The level of variety behind Megumi's technique is obviously there, but he needs to discover the ways he wants it to work. Megumi is learning to imagine a stronger him whilst fighting. In his quick confrontation with Toji, we get an inner monologue of Megumi telling himself to envision a stronger him so he can win. Megumi has changed and is learning to increase his capabilities. A major catalyst is Yuji Itadori as well, because he is growing faster than Megumi right in front of him. Megumi is personally unaccepting of that, so he respectfully wants to become more powerful than Yuji. This could also be so that he can keep up with power that Sukuna will gain as Yuji eats more fingers, right? Of course, Megumi will believe there is a limit to his power, but he wants to be able to save as many people as he can. This isn't the first instance of Megumi's potential being brought up, nor will it ever be the last. Even Sukuna himself has shown interest in Megumi, calling his ability a treasure, and even forming a big plan revolving around Megumi in chapter 118. This plan has been teased by Akutami in recent interviews, but also during the Shibuya incident when Sukuna even saved Megumi from killing himself by killing General Maharaga. In this fight, Sukuna admits that if Megumi summoned Maharaga back during the Cursed Womb arc, Sukuna would have died. That was Sukuna with 3 fingers at the time. So that gives us a good comparison of Megumi's possible strength level. This actually seems to excite Sukuna, making him even more interested in him. There is a major possibility that Sukuna needs Megumi to get as strong as possible to help him achieve his major goal. Now the goal isn't known as of yet, but we believe it is to gain his own body or create a new army with Megumi's shadows so that he can reign supreme in the world. Sukuna doesn't even identify himself as a curse, if you can remember, but he sees himself as a king. That much is clear. Sukuna would rather be the king of the world rather than only curses, based upon what we have seen so far with his actions and personality. Now, if you want the complete picture regarding why Sukuna is interested in Megumi and what are the inspirations for the characters and why Megumi is so special, you need to watch part 1. There is a lot of clear evidence for Sukuna's interest in him, and I recommend it because right now I'm going to explain even more clues following up our part 1 video we did a few months ago. Now, one thing I would like to point out is in regards to the Nara period. In chapter 74, we were told in Jujutsu Kaisen world that Master Tengen is stated to be the individual that spread Japanese Buddhism 1200 years ago, and this is what would become the foundation of Jujutsu sorcerers. Now, Sukuna is a sorcerer from 1000 years ago approximately, which means that he practiced the techniques and Buddhism that Tengen preached just like everyone else. This would explain why he has so much knowledge regarding the origin of their powers and immediately could decipher the Buddhist wheel General Maharaga possessed. In chapter 118, Sukuna confirms that Megumi's 10 Shadows technique is inspired from the 10 sacred treasures of Shinto that we have in real life. The 10 Shadows technique that Megumi possesses draws inspirations from the 10 sacred treasures of Shinto. The markings on many of the Shikigami reflect the sacred emblems of the regalia. The white divine dog has a symbol on its forehead that resembles the jewel of turning back on the road. The black divine dog has the symbol on its forehead that resembles the jewel of plenty. The toad has a symbol on its stomach that resembles the mirror of the deep. The great serpent has a symbol on its forehead that resembles the jewel of life. The max elephant has a symbol on its forehead that resembles the mirror of the shore, and the wheel on Maharaga's head represents the sword 8 hands long, which is the complete cycle of harmony as confirmed by Sukuna. Shinto is polytheistic and revolves around the kami, which are the supernatural entities believed to inhabit all things. The kami are worshipped at household shrines, family shrines, and public shrines, which explains why Sukuna's domain expansion is called Malevolent Shrine, as his mythological inspiration of his story of where Gege Akutami based his character upon is a man that was worshipped by individuals for his heroic stature and powers. We saw in chapter 117 this would explain a character such as Ureume, who has apparently followed Sukuna around for 1,000 years since that time period. An interesting point to note is that Sukuna's domain Malevolent Shrine is similar to Chimera Shadow Garden. Sukuna's domain expansion creates a Buddhist shrine decorated with skulls, and both of these domains don't have any boundaries. Maybe be implicit of how the technique works, how they are limitless. Sukuna has mastery over his domain, but Megumi doesn't, and he's still learning to control it. Once Megumi excels at controlling curse energy, his domain might actually rival Sukuna's someday, but this also gives us a reason to think that this is linked back to Sukuna's interest for him one way or another, since they are based on the origin of Buddhism that Master Tengen spread. Furthermore, I have been reading a book called The Culture of Secrecy in Japanese Religion. It states that the relationship between the 3 sacred regalia and the 10 sacred treasures that Megumi possesses was also an important theme in medieval Shinto thought. The medieval period of Japan is considered by most historians to stretch from 1185, which correlates to the tale of Sukuna that Satoru Gojo mentioned to us, that he is the king of curses that lived as a shaman from almost 1000 years ago according to legend. The Heian period, the era in which Ryumen Sukuna was defeated, is considered the golden age of Jujutsu, which apparently the brain in Geto is also from and is trying to recreate. Sukuna has described Jujutsu sorcerers to have been a problem for cursed spirits in every era, in a never-ending war between sides utilizing Jujutsu. A society of organized humans with the ability to fight curses has formed. Now, when I was researching the 10 treasures that Akutami used and read the books regarding it, a commentary from the book I stated earlier says that the 10 sacred treasures are transformations of the 3 sacred regalia, where it was divided into 4 jewels that we see Megumi possess in his own Shikigami. According to Jihen, it incorporates the other 9 treasures, and as they are transformations of the 3 sacred regalia, his conclusion is that the Shinomonorahire represents the 3 regalia. This view is repeated in the Raiki Kigaki, oh my god, I'm butchering these words, which states in its definition of the Shinomonohire, this is the supreme secret. The first 9 treasures compose 1 crown. The emperor wears this crown when he ascends the throne. Likewise, in Jihen is wrote, the emperor governs the 3 realms of heaven, earth, and human beings vertically, and he also rules everything in the seas of the 4 directions, which is the entire world, horizontally. 17 emperors performed this esoteric Buddhist rite from the late Heian period through the Edo period. The emperor formed a mudra with his hands and recited a mantra which seated on the throne, and was thus bestowed sovereignty by Buddha. So as we can see, Sukuna has the malevolent shrine. He already has the seat of the throne, right? Now he's thinking in his head, oh my god, Megumi has the 9 treasures. He has the adaptation of the 3 ancient regalia of our Buddhist religion, which is the origin of Jujutsu as Master Tengen spread it 1200 years ago. Think about that. So now Sukuna, he wants to combine all of these Shikigami to create his own army, or to create his own crown, to be resurrected and to be the best that he can be and the king of everything. That is why I think Sukuna may be interested in Megumi. Hopefully if you can watch part 1, you will understand everything, as there is a rebirth concept in Buddhist theology anyway. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thank you for joining us as always.